Hi, good evening and welcome. This is Seek Sustainable Japan. I'm JJWalsh here in Hiroshima, joined by the amazing Stuart Galbraith. Great to have you here, Stuart.
Oh, great to be here. I'm tickled to death.
I was looking back at our first talk 5 years ago, apparently.
Oh,
Look at
wow.
us. Look
Wow.
at us. It's so fun. So we were talking about your interesting Minka documentary
Right.
film that you did, and your own Minka renovations. And I think running the Minka Summit as someone who started with a passion for renovating your own Minka certainly gives you more insight. And your group has grown so much on Facebook and now doing the Minka Summit again, 2026, next April. You must
Yes.
be very busy, but we're going to announce some of the amazing things you've got in the works today, right?
You've got the scoop. Yeah.
I've got the scoop. Yeah. So if you're joining us live, you can drop your questions and comments here in the chat. So basic information, people can buy their tickets on Peatix, right?
Yes, that's right. And in fact, as you see now on the screen, through December 31st, admission tickets are 40% off. And then they'll just revert to the normal price after that. So, and it's kind of a good idea to buy your tickets early simply because the Saturday night dinner and keynote speech has always sold out. I think the latest it sold out was around the first week of February. So they go pretty fast. And you'll also want to secure your accommodations early because with all the over tourism and everything, and with April being high season, it becomes more difficult to book in the city if you want to stay in Kyoto City. And also there's lots of accommodations near where the summit is going to be within like say a 25-kilometer radius. There are lots of places, but they do book pretty fast. And some of them are harder to find because they're not on the regular travel sites. Some of them have very old-looking websites and things, but they do go fast. So
Yeah, and it's quite easy if you're driving to come from Kyoto. We've done it in the past where we stay in Kyoto and then I think it's about an hour. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say, well, with the over tourism and heavier traffic these days, I would say it's about 70 minutes from downtown. Also, kind of one of the landmarks is a village called Kurama, which has a really beautiful temple and a famous onsen and lots of traditional inns. And from there, it's about 30 minutes.
That sounds lovely. And then you have that amazing bus, which always makes me smile when it's coming through your town.
Oh, right.
And it always plays Greensleeves. Is that right?
Greensleeves going north and Annie Laurie going south. So
I
you can
love
hear it
it.
coming.
I've never heard buses that have a tune as they come through towns. It's so charming.
And it's so laid back here. You can actually get on the bus anywhere. You don't have to be necessarily even at the bus stop. They'll pick you up anywhere along the line.
That's awesome. Now, Alex Kerr, of course, famously described the Minka Summit as the not, I want to say Birkenstock. What is wrong with my brain? The Glastonbury? No, I'm on the wrong track.
Woodstock.
There we go. Thank you very much. The Woodstock of Japan, because it brings people, it's not just about traditional houses. It's about anyone interested in rural Japan living. Of course, the craftsmanship and the carpentry and the beautiful woodworking, all the things related to living in traditional Kominka or Minka houses. But it's so much more than that. It's beyond, right? How would you describe it, Stuart, when you talk to people?
The Minka is front and center, but we also talk about lots of related things. For instance, we always try to have at least one speaker presentation about um, relationships between foreign residents who buy and renovate a Minka. You can't just come in and, you know, take over or whatever. You have to live with your new neighbors in your new community, and rural life is different from city life. There are different expectations and things. So we always try to have at least one speaker session that talks about that, and people share stories about their experiences, good and bad, and we can try to learn to live better in these new adopted communities. And we also talk about things like organic farming and sustainable energy, because many people with Minka now want to work toward a net zero kind of life with solar and water power and all kinds of different things. So it incorporates a lot, I think.
Awesome. And of course, beyond the knowledge and the connections you can make with other people at the talks and the workshops and the Minka Mall,
Right.
but also visiting Minka around the area and seeing
Right.
what beautiful renovations people have done, including your amazing house, Stuart.
We
You've
did
done
that
a
the first year. It
beautiful
was
job.
I realized I was taking on too much, also trying to do tours. So I don't do that anymore, alas. But there are Minka everywhere around here, and again, we try to show them in different states. Sometimes we like to have a Minka that isn't fully renovated, that's just being started, and there's the bones are all exposed and the roof is exposed, and we can see Minka at different stages. And going back to one thing that you said a moment ago is, I think we the tours are wonderful, and the speaker presentations are always great every year, and the Minka Mall is fun. But I always think that for me, the best part of the summit is how people are able to connect with one another. So you have maybe somebody coming to the summit from, say, Niigata, and at maybe the Friday night meet and greet, he meets somebody else who's from Niigata who lives 20 kilometers away, and he had no idea, and they become friends, and they share information, and they share tools and all that kind of stuff. And they arrive as strangers, and then they leave as friends and neighbors. So that kind of thing is, for me, one of the real joys of the summit.
Absolutely. And every time I come, you're just surrounded by like-minded people who want to live more sustainably, want to dive into more Japanese culture, want to live in an old house, want to renovate, right? There's so much knowledge to share. And you just feel like you're talking to really like-minded people, which is lovely.
Yeah, and also I think especially bringing together the older Japanese who have these traditional skills that are at risk of dying out and going away. They are thrilled to meet foreign residents working in Minka, and they want to learn from these older people. And so there's also that exchange, which is really wonderful.
Sorry, in and out. The cat's going in and out.
No,
Busy time.
I have a dog. I know. I'm hoping she's not going to bark during the show.
That's the magic of going live, right?
Yeah.
Now, in previous Minka summits at the Minka Mall, I was so impressed by some of the food offered by local eateries who come and set up stalls there. Here is my beautiful, healthy, and zero-waste lunch that I got at the 2024 Minka Mall. And then in front of the Minka Mall from 2024, this is one of the demonstrations of thatching, and there's always something happening that you can watch and see an artisan at work. And this just shows that beautiful area in front of where you set up the Minka Mall. So again, I'm sure this year you're going to have a lot of local vendors showing and artists and things. Can you tell us what can people expect at the Minka Mall this year?
We're hoping to bring in about 30 booths, and it's just going to be a wide range of people, everything from Maki stove dealers and Akiya bank people and people selling antique tansu. We're still in the very early stages of the Minka Mall, but we're working on that. And we're also, you mentioned food earlier. Uh, my wife reminded me the other day, food is important, she said. and and so we always try to bring in a combination of local people serving local vegetables and meats and that kind of thing, and also have a lot of international food. One thing that we've learned over the years is that a lot of the Japanese that come to our summits, they're sort of fascinated by having some exotic foreign cuisine that they've always steered clear of, but then they see people enjoying it and they say, well, okay, let me try that. And so we're going to have a lot of different food carts. And also, one of the things that we've learned over the years is we want to do better with breakfast and morning type food. So the venue itself, Hanase Resort, has this year they're opening up for breakfast, and they're going to offer a breakfast set. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I assume it's going to be something like, an egg and a little salad and coffee and toast kind of thing. But we're also going to try to bring in people with pastries and coffee and stuff like that, so people will be able to eat well all day long. So
That's awesome. You got to have the coffee in the morning. There's so many fantastic coffee places all over Japan, but quite often they don't open till 10.
Yeah.
I don't need coffee at 10.
Yeah.
I need coffee at 8. Right?
Exactly.
I need it to wake up. But yeah, that would be awesome. That sounds great. Let's go through the images you sent. Give people the scoop about 2026. So let's start with the keynote speaker.
Yes. So for the 2026 Minka Summit, our keynote speaker this year is going to be Jeff Berglund. You probably recognize his face. He was a fixture for many years on NHK as well as radio. Jeff he's actually from South Dakota. I didn't know that until I met him a couple months ago. And he's lived in Kyoto since 1969. So 56 years he's been here and has seen all the changes to Kyoto, good and bad, over the years. And he has a long association with Doshisha University and Doshisha High School, I should say. And and he's also apparently a Kyoto International Ambassador as well. So part of the reason that we wanted to invite Jeff is not just his long history of living in Japan and experiencing all the cultural and historical changes, but he's also possibly, to the best of my knowledge, the only foreign resident of Japan who owns a Machiya along the Kamo River, complete with what's called a yuka, which is the veranda that you see. So when you look at photos of Kyoto, you always see the photo, there we go, there's one, of the Kamo River and the Machiya along the river and the yuka veranda. So he has some really amazing stories about living in that Machiya. I think he even has a ghost story to tell. So maybe we can get him to talk about that. So we're
and Friday morning, there's that extra walking around the Machiya with him, right?
So yeah, what we're going to do is another thing that we've wanted to do for a while is our focus has always been on farmhouse type Minka. But this time we want to put a spotlight on Machiya. So what we're going to do is, for those people that are able to come on Friday, the first day, and I know it's difficult for some people, but if you can get to Kyoto Friday, we're going to have a walking tour of probably 3 Machiya. We're still working out the details, but one of the Machiya will be Jeff Bergelin's Machiya, and he will be conducting a tour, a personal tour of that Machiya. And as I said, I got to visit with him a couple months back and see his Machiya. It's really interesting because it's almost next door to City Hall. It's like really, really downtown. But the Machiya is a former traditional inn, and it's quite large. I think it's what did he say here? It's nearly 100 tatami mat size, so it's quite big. And he's extremely knowledgeable about every little piece of wood and shoji and tatami. He can tell you everything you could possibly want to know about it, and it's really, really fascinating. And we're just delighted to have him.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. So if you can make it for the Friday morning, the 24th, it's right there in Kyoto, so not too far from the station, right?
Right. So part of the idea is, by doing it Friday, those people who are coming without cars can just arrive at Kyoto Station, take the subway to the meeting point, go on the tour, and then when the tour is done, we'll have somebody guide you to the bus stop to catch the bus to go to Hanase, and then it'll take you right to the front gates of the venue, and you can register after you arrive. You don't have to register first to go on the tour. You don't need a special ticket or anything.
That sounds great. And then for his keynote, did he give you any insight what he'll be talking about?
A few hints. I'm not really sure exactly what's going to happen. He did request that I provide pencils to everybody at the dinner. So I don't know if he's going to do a quiz at the end or what. So
somehow interactive and engaging. Yeah. I like that. I like that idea.
Incidentally, one of the interesting things he said is he's given hundreds and hundreds of speeches, but this is only the second one, he says, that he'll do in English. He's always given them in Japanese. So that's a little bit of a rare opportunity to hear Jeff do a speech in English. So
that'll be really fun. Let's continue on. So the next, Tassenshima?
Tassenshima, yes. Have you ever heard of Tassenshima?
No.
Well, let me explain. She is a household name in Japan. She's kind of like, I want to say she's a little bit like what Martha Stewart was in the 1980s, before all the scandals and everything. She trained in the culinary arts in France, and then came back and worked in Michelin-starred restaurants in Tokyo for many years. And she ended up going back to France, and she married a French gentleman and had kids. And then part of the reason that we invited her to MINKA Summit is she, several years ago, bought a Minka in the mountains. I think it's 160 years old, I think she said, and did a big renovation, part of which was covered on Japanese television. And she's very passionate about living in a Minka, living in a traditional life with high quality organic food and so forth. And she loves rural living. And it's now a big part of who she is now, I think. And in fact, when we asked her to come to MINKA Summit, she responded right away. She's very excited, and I think it's going to be a wonderful experience for everybody, because she will be delighted to meet all these like-minded people and her fans. And she's widely known, particularly among Japanese women, say 25 to 65. They're going to be thrilled to meet her, because she doesn't make many public appearances. She's written probably around two dozen books. And I think we might have an image of one of them somewhere. And so we're just thrilled to have her. She's going to be a really popular guest, and she's very passionate about food and living in rural Japan and Minka and everything else. So I think that's going to be a great experience for a lot of people.
It sounds wonderful. I think she, like I was talking before about the kindred spirits of people that you meet, she sounds like
Right.
she's going to be someone everybody's going to want to talk to, and sharing her passion for good food, organic food, country living,
Mm-mm.
self-sustaining lifestyle. These are all key points for so many people that come to the Minka Summit, I find, right?
Yes, indeed.
And then Satoko Kasagi.
Yes. So what we're going to do when we've done past summits, we've always had sort of parallel speaker presentations, and we try to. It's always difficult scheduling these things because people often want to go to both at the same time and that sort of thing. And so one of the things we're going to do a little differently this time is one of those parallel sessions is going to be devoted essentially to a single topic. We're calling it Minka from A to N, or Minka from A to Z, if you prefer. And the basic idea of it is that if you're somebody who is thinking about trying to find a Minka, or you want to buy a Minka but you don't know how to go about it, this immersive course will take you through chronologically through the entire process, from finding a realtor to understanding how building codes work, to understanding how to earthquake proof your Minka, and zoning laws and all that kind of stuff, and dealing with Machiya banks and the process of making a bid on a house and signing papers, all the way through to selecting carpenters and electricians. And it's all going to be chronological. So if you're just starting out, you can uh, sit in this course, which is going to be Saturday, all day Saturday and Sunday, basically. It'll take you through chronologically through everything. Or if you're partway through this process, you can just join in whenever it applies to you. And so we think, we really want to do something that's going to help a lot of people. And so this particular part of the summit is being curated by Satoko-san, and she is a realtor who specializes in both Minka and overseas buyers. So, and she speaks Japanese and English beautifully, and so she's incredibly knowledgeable as well. So she and I are working together to find the best speakers and panelists for each step in this process. And additionally, most of these guests will be available for free one-on-one consultations after those related courses. So you can then talk to somebody one-on-one if you have particular concerns that are, special to you. So we think it can be something that could be really helpful for people who particularly are just getting started in the process.
That sounds really helpful. I know a lot of people who come are seeking information, right?
Yeah.
And to get that kind of A to A to Un, or
Right.
A to Z kind of step by step, and you can join wherever it suits you. That's a great idea. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So we hope it'll help a lot of people. Our fingers are crossed.
All
So.
right. The next Paul, is it?
Yes. Paul Fradale. Paul is somebody who used to be a board member. He was one of the original board members of Kominka Japan, and unfortunately, his schedule got really busy and things like that, and he had to drop out. But he dropped out under really good terms, and I've been following his progress. I first heard about Paul because CNN did a story about him and his wife Kimberly, and the story of how they bought this Minka and they did their renovation. And it was a great story. And he is just amazing, the work that he has done. I've known lots and lots of foreign residents of Japan who take this stuff on and who do a lot of DIY. And Paul did most of the work, I dare say, himself. And I can't think of a more gorgeous looking Minka than Paul's. It is really, really outstanding. And in recent years, he's sort of been finishing up on the house, and he started work on doing a traditional Japanese garden. And so there were photos of Paul moving heavy stones and stone lanterns and digging holes and excavating and stuff. And it's all, a lot of it is just a lot of hard work, hard, sweaty work. And he's just amazing. He's been doing it. So I've been trying to get him to come to each Minka Summit. He dropped out of Kominka Japan, I think, right before the first summit and wasn't able to go in 2022. And I keep inviting him back because I said, you have so much knowledge. You have to, you need to share this with other people. So this year, finally, he's going to come back and he's going to give a presentation about traditional Japanese gardens. And we're so excited that he's going to be doing that because he's so knowledgeable and so passionate about it. And he does just such a spectacular job. I mean, the photos of his Minka and gardens and the videos that there you go. There's the interior, which will give you some idea. He just does amazing work. And also, I think, he took what was kind of a, slightly run down, typical Minka. Yeah, there he is, sweating away. And I think his passion and all the hard work he's done, that kind of thing, it helps the community too, because it makes the whole area look better. And so I think he gets a lot of support from his neighbors, and I think he's got all kinds of great stories to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have Paul and Kim, I think his wife's name's Kim,
Kimberly, yes.
on the show.
Oh, you did?
They were one of my first interviews.
Really?
And they had renovated a house in Hawaii with Japanese themes and Japanese techniques, and then telling me about beating back the bamboo, giving bamboo shoots to all their neighbors, and then the neighbors bringing over these amazing stones for the gardens.
Right.
He found some old historical relics in the house that, like huge amount of amazing history connections and vintage things and so many great stories from the renovation and then the garden too. That'll be fascinating.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I'm looking forward, and for me, I'm personally excited because I've known him for like 5.5 years or something, and we've never met face to face. So
yeah, that'll be wonderful to meet him face to face.
Yeah,
I've only met him online for the interview, so I'll put the link to that interview below. Lots of great insights there too. The next one, it looks like Miyamaso.
Miyamaso, yes. This is also kind of a special thing. Miyamaso is a traditional inn. It was built in 1892 during the Meiji era, and it was built as a temple guest house. And then in 1937, it became a restaurant. And it's very interesting. Apparently, in olden times, the priest, the temple priests would go foraging for herbs and wild vegetables and things, and so this inn is all based on that, the cuisine, and it's now I think 2-star Michelin inn, very exclusive. Here in Hanase, it's fascinating because we get taxis from Osaka and Kobe and places like this where they pick up a passenger and drive them like 2.5 hours or however long it is just to come to this particular inn. And what we're going to do is they have very generously offered to have guests of the Minka Summit come and enjoy a lunch for a greatly discounted price. I think it's 5,400 yen, which is about like less than 1/4 of what they would normally charge for lunch. So it's not going to be the full regular Miyamoso lunch, but it's going to be, very close with the same kind of dishes and things. So people will be able to have a rare treat and taste this. And we're also hoping it's high season for them as well. So we're not sure. Yeah, this is This is not necessarily what would be served for lunch, but this will give you an idea of what their dishes typically look like.
How beautiful. And
Yeah.
served on a beautiful leaf.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so we're hoping that they're going to be able to do kind of a limited tour for some of these, and we're going to see. But we're going to have 3 sessions that are limited to 10 people each, and you'll be able to see the front and go in and sit down and have a really nice lunch in groups of 10. So we'll see how it goes. We haven't done anything like this before. If it sells out right away, we may try to see if we can do some more lunch sets on Sunday. These would all be on Saturday at 11, 12, and 1 p.m., limited to a total of 10 people for each session. And also, Miyamoso itself is also situated right next to a really great, underrated Japanese temple called Bujoji, which is a 12th century temple. And it's amazing because they have a veranda similar to Kiyomizu-dera, which is so famous. It's like one of the iconic Japanese temples, certainly in Kyoto. And Bujoji is like completely unknown. There's like never anybody there. It's very similar, and it's a gorgeous area, and they have these gigantic ancient trees. And so if you have extra time, we're going to see if they can open up Bujoji for us as well. So
That sounds amazing.
yeah,
You have some beautiful inns around there. Of course, the wonderful and very welcoming Highland Inn, which is
right,
just up the road, renovated old house and wonderful, wonderful food. Simon is an amazing chef. I usually
right,
have at least one meal there too.
right.
And usually people stay there as well, right? Who are coming to the Minka Summit
Who stay at the different
at
Japanese inns?
different inns quite
Yes, oh,
nearby, right?
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, in fact, the road to Miyamoso and Bujoji also itself has several nice little inns, and like I was saying before, a lot of these inns, they're not on the major travel search engines. You have to do a little bit of hunting to find their websites, or even just call them in some cases. But we will be providing probably next month a PDF of places all within the area, within a short driving distance. And of course, if you'd prefer, a lot of people prefer to stay in the city in like a modern hotel. So, you can do that too.
Yeah, there's without the having the commute to deal with, but staying out in your area, it's such a beautiful area in the rural area along that country road and the mountain pass, and is a little bit challenging to drive in and out of from Kyoto. So there's definite merits of staying out in that area, right?
I think so.
All right. Next, it looks like you have Chuck Kaiser.
Chuck Kaiser is coming back. He did a wonderful, wonderful presentation in 2022 that got a hugely warm reception. Chuck, I think it's the reason for that is Chuck is so passionate about organic farming and trying to bring organic farming back to Japan in a major way. I mean, one of the things he told me was, basically Japan did organic farming for centuries. It's only in the last, 70, 80 years that we started using all the horrible pesticides and chemicals on everything. So as he says, he's just trying to bring Japan go a few steps backward to bring back organic, healthy farming. So again, we're so delighted that he's going to be able to come back and do a presentation because, I mean, he's really the guy. If you need to talk to somebody about organic farming, Chuck knows everything. And it's sort of like me with my Minka. I knew nothing about Minka 15 years ago, and I never thought I would end up living in one or anything else. And Chuck is the same way. He had no background in farming at all. And then, however long ago, I think about 15 years ago, he started, he got a plot of land that he was able to secure for his use, and he just became super passionate about it. So, and his vegetables are just amazing.
Yeah. I've had Chuck on the show a few times, and I visited his farm, and I know that he's inspired so many people to grow their own food, and he does workshops trying to give people those skills that we all want to grow our own food.
Yeah.
But how the heck do you do it? You know, like there's that gap in desire, but what skills do I actually need, you know?
Yeah.
So he's wonderful. He's very, very inspiring. I'm sure he'll be a very popular speaker and something that lots of people thinking of moving to the rural area are really worried about, right? Next, Tim Smith.
Yes, Tim Smith is somebody. We did a thing called Kominka Japan Live earlier this year, where he gave a presentation on his solar power setup. And it was absolutely fascinating, more fascinating than these photographs suggest. He has basically worked out a system where it's possible to go solar for less than 1 million yen through a combination of methods and searching for things on Yahoo auctions, certain parts that you need. And he was able to do it on a really tight budget, on a small, modest budget. And he's now selling electricity back to the city. He's, most of his electricity is coming from solar. His electric bills are practically zero. And he's just doing amazing stuff. And it's very inspiring to me because, beyond wanting to have sustainable energy, I think if you live in a rural Minka, you have to be concerned about the reliability of electricity. I had a situation here about 5 years ago where a typhoon came through and knocked out all our electricity and internet and telephone, everything. And we were out of service for 9 days. And let me tell you, the first couple days, it was kind of an adventure. But by about day 3, day 4, I was like, oh, what's going on? Like really getting frustrated. Not being able to use my laptop, not being able to use my phone. So you want to have a reliable source of energy if there's a typhoon or an earthquake. And the other thing is that if you live out in the boonies, as many of us do, we're like the last priority of the electric company. So in the event of a major earthquake, it's going to be the big cities that are recovered first, and we're going to be last. So to have that kind of backup energy, I think, is a real plus. And plus, it's clean energy. So.
Absolutely. I have solar on the roof. I drive an electric car. It's like you've got transport as well if you charge it from sunshine, right? But this is a big issue. If you're going to live in the rural areas, sometimes there's a landslide, your road is washed out. So even, people in Noto Peninsula saw the recovery effort is still ongoing. It takes a long time. But if you've got your own energy on that you can rely on, it really, you can, work from home.
Mm.
Maybe you've got your emergency food, but without energy, it's pretty rough, right?
It's rough, yeah. And some of us, we're getting older. We have medicines that need to be refrigerated and all kinds of things. And you mentioned your electric vehicle. I think Tim also, maybe by now, he was talking about having a charging station right in front of his home, for his car. So he doesn't even have to go anywhere to charge it up.
No, that's what we paid for. And I tell you, I do not miss having to go to gas stations. Don't miss it at all. I
Mm,
just go every now and again if I need a car wash.
yeah.
It's wonderful. Oh, that sounds fascinating. And those kind of insights, the technical side, right?
Mhm.
How to do it without having to spend too much money. The price of solar in general has really come down in the last
Mm,
10 years. The price we paid was 3 million. The same 3 kilowatt system is 1 million. So it's really a good time to
yeah,
invest in solar.
I
I
think
would
so.
recommend it. Yeah.
I agree.
And
I want to do it.
yeah, do it. Do it. It's worth it. You'll pay it off in no time.
Yeah.
Next, honey ant.
Yes. Well, I knew I was going to be on your show, and I remembered how much you liked their vegetarian cuisine at the Saturday night dinner. So I contacted them and I said, please, please come. Everybody loves your vegetarian food. So they are coming back. And yes, there's their shop. And in fact, while you have that photo up, I want to say that if you are somebody who is a vegetarian or you want to eat only organic food, their shop is great. And it's only about 5 minutes away from the venue. And it's in I think, a Naya part of a, Minka estate. And they do most of their business online. Oh, that's not them. We're not there quite there yet, but they do most of their business online, and they kind of specialize, I think, in fermented foods. So, so definitely, if you're here and you have a vehicle, pay them a visit because they're just a short distance from the summit. And also, in fact. I know that you like their food, but also we had last time we had lots of people who did not pick the vegetarian option, who picked the main option, but they saw all this delicious food over to the side, and they were like, "Why can't we eat that too?" So I think we're going to ask them to prepare a couple things that can go on the meat eater side. So we'll see.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Even meat eaters can appreciate good fermented
Yes,
food and
absolutely.
wonderful veggie dishes, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of meat eaters, this is the typical Saturday night dinner spread.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. So that's the normal buffet style that we do. This is probably a fairly good image of what kind of food will be served at the Saturday night dinner and keynote speech.
Sounds great. And it's always such a fun time to eat and drink and talk and meet new people. And you can even mingle and talk to the keynote speakers and, people that you've heard maybe give a talk and then talk to them more casually. It's
Yeah,
always really fun.
and many of them are writers, and so a lot of them will be doing book signings in the Minka Mall as well. So
Wonderful. The next one looks like Journey Yamori Minka.
yes, this is we're very excited. This is kind of a last minute addition. It's because the things are always changing. We actually have a movie premiere that's going to be happening late Friday afternoon. It's at least a Kansai premiere. It's a documentary called Minka: The Journey of a Japanese Farmhouse, just finished. This is from director John Junkerman. It was 5 years in the making, and it follows the journey of a Minka in rural Shiga that is disassembled and then shipped to a suburb near Boston. And the story of that, I watched the movie yesterday for the first time, and the story of that is totally fascinating. And there's lots of wonderful technical details about the whole process involved in disassembling a Minka and getting it ready and cleaning all the parts and everything and shipping it, and all of that is there. But the film itself is really so much more than that, because it's about, it explores the history and culture of the Minka through the Japanese families that live there. We learn a lot about the village and the family that lived there. And then when we get to the Boston side, we hear about the American side and the American family involved, and how committed they are to conservation issues and forestry, and their appreciation of Japanese architecture. And we also have this wonderful story of the co-cultural teamwork between the Japanese and American teams of carpenters and architects and landscapers and plasterers and all these guys. And it's a surprisingly moving story, more than you would think. And it's, the cinematography in it is really, really wonderful. So you get to see so many wonderful details, not just of the Minka, but also in interviews, looking at these faces of elderly carpenters talking about their passion for preserving Minka and what Minka means to them. So it's a really outstanding movie. So we're still working out the details, but we're hoping that John Junkerman, the director, will be there to introduce the film, and we're probably going to do some kind of Q&A after the film. And this is right before the Friday night meet and greet. So I think it'll be a good thing to get people excited. So when I watched the movie yesterday, I thought, oh, everybody's going to love this. This is a movie that everybody's just going to go crazy for. So I'm very excited that we're going to be able to show this film.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. In the pictures we're looking at, is this in the film, these two images of the
Yes,
house?
so that's the house as it was in Shiga before disassembly, and it was the village head's home. So it's a larger than usual Minka. So this is right before they disassembled it. And then the after picture, this is the Minka reassembled, and all the traditional elements are there. They were not able to do the thatch. Trying to do the thatch would have been somewhat impractical. So they used, but they used clay tiles, and then I think the upper part is pine shingles, and so it's going to be like a community space where people can listen to music and see traditional Japanese art things going on, and it's a really interesting story.
That sounds so interesting and so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful when you see the artisans at work, and then usually when they disassemble and then move it to another country, you send the artisans, of course, with them to reassemble. And so having that interaction when they're in Boston must also be really interesting.
It's really fascinating. There's one scene where it's funny. The American half of the crew, I think I'm trying to remember exactly what happens, but they kind of reconfigured everything to feet and inches, and you can see the Japanese carpenters kind of like that. And, yeah.
Oh, that's
but of
funny.
course they all become great friends in the end, and all that. So
oh, how wonderful.
respect.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that, and to hear from the filmmaker as well, and get some of the insights. Be wonderful.
Yeah, I was surprised. The film was co-produced by Peter Grilli, who's a famous Japanese film historian, and he co-produced this film, but he also produced the film. I want to say the title is My Minka. It was a short documentary made about 10 years ago about Takeshita-san, if you remember, and his first architectural job, moving a Minka to Kamakura.
Yeah, I
So,
really want to go see that someday when I'm in Kamakura.
yeah.
Takeshita-san, such an amazing, passionate, enthusiastic, of course, founder, and a beautiful book about Minka that he wrote many years ago. But excuse me, started as a Japanese screen sailor. That he
Right,
had no
right.
interest in Minka, right? He's got such a great backstory too. Oh, looking forward to that. So we just have a few more minutes. I think we've talked about everything. Is there anything we haven't covered, Stuart?
I don't think so. The main point is I would suggest buying your tickets sooner than later, just because I'm pretty certain that the keynote speech and Saturday night dinner will probably sell out maybe by the end of January, roughly, and the same for the Miyamaso special lunches, simply because we only have a total of 30 seats available for that. And you'll want to do it early, not only to get the 40% discount on the admission tickets, but also you'll want to get your accommodations early so you don't have to drive from really far away. Sort of like the San Diego Comic Con, where it's like if you don't buy your tickets a year early, drive from Los Angeles or something.
And you'll have the list of accommodations available
I think that
on
we're
the
going to try to
website
get
or
that up
Peatix?
as soon as possible. So I'm hoping maybe early December.
Okay. And I've put the Peatix link below. I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
And I've already got my ticket. I've already got my dinner
I know.
ticket.
I wanted to say, I'm glad you reminded me, because I wanted to say thank you. You were actually the first person to buy a ticket. You're number one.
Ah, that's my claim to fame. I love it.
Well, thank you for your ongoing support.
Of course. And I hope before the Minka Summit happens next April, that I'll be able to get some of the keynote speakers on the show to give us a little preview of what they might be talking about, or some of the authors who will be book signing. Or it would be great to have more people who are going to be there give us a little bit more excitement as we get ready for it.
Well, and I'm also happy to come back sometime before, because it's still 5 months away, so we have lots more people and lots more events that we're going to announce. We typically, after the first big announcement, we usually make additional announcements about every 10 or 14 days. We tell you about 2 or 3 new people, or new food booths, or Minka Mall participants. So there's lots more coming. But today's show is to give you a little taste of what's going to be happening.
Yeah, I'm so happy you could come on and give us some insight about what we can look forward to. And then maybe January, February, you can come on again and give us more details.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much, Stuart.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks everyone for joining. Add your questions and comments, and we'll get back to you, of course, anytime, even if it's a replay. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks, Stuart.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.